Hi, my name is Shalee Cooper. I'm the gallery director and curator here at Modern West. And Diane Stewart started this gallery to support established and emerging artists who help us reconsider the West and reimagine it in ways. And the show that we're featuring right now is titled A Woven History, with 9 women artists, all who have ties to Utah. So there's a really interesting sort of narrative in the background. We're featuring works by Rebecca Campbell, Angela Ellsworth, Kiki Gaffney, Dara Hartman, Emily Hawkins, Suzanne Hill, Amy Jorgensen, Bailey Rigby, and myself, Shalee Cooper. This show is incredible. There are such a variety of mediums, and something that was really exciting in the way that we curated it was because there's this common background and thread. There's a lot of visual ties throughout the works. This piece by Amy Jorgensen is a phenomenal installation. She's acknowledging 18 suffragettes who all were imprisoned and were fighting for the right to vote. The images, the way that she works is so thoughtful. Everything is very considered. The images of the women were surveillance photos, and so you'll recognize that there's numbers associated with them. And the way that she integrated the cyanotype process, nodding to Anna Atkins, who is recognized for popularizing the cyanotype. She's also nodding to women in the way that she's executing the piece and using the handkerchiefs that were gifted to her by family, and this idea that women generally made those handkerchiefs. So there's lots of layers to her work, and when you get up close to it, you can see that it is installed by pins, and it's incredible how it kind of moves as you look close to it. And then we have this Paneloncini piece by Angela Ellsworth, where there's 60,000 pins. And she's kind of acknowledging the women's dress reform and this expectation of what and how women were meant to dress. And it really is a striking piece in that it's almost painful to look at, but it is so beautiful. And you get up close to it and you can see all of the pins on the inside. And the pattern that she has integrated in the piece is nodding to artist Hilma af Klint. And so she's kind of bringing light in this body of work to artists that are under-recognized. Angela's known for working in a variety of mediums, and we do have other pieces in the exhibition by her that include paintings, and there's also actually this video installation still by Angela Ellsworth. She's featured in the piece, and I love how this piece also, in visual conversation with Suzanne Hill, who's working with ceramics, there's an interesting palette in the way that the sky references the piece, and the form in the wood of Suzanne Hill's piece kind of nods to Angela's movement. We recently added this piece over here by Emily Hawkins, who is right now getting her master's at BYU. This piece was so fantastic. I thought we had to have it in the show. It's fascinating how the form is so structured, but as you get up close to it, you'll recognize her handprints in the piece. And something she mentioned when she was making this piece was that it felt like the work was wanting to be seen. And she titled the piece Feeling Seen. And sometimes as a mother, she talked about how there's this expectation for touch. And at times there's moments where you may not want to be touched or touch. And it's fascinating to juggle all of the roles in that situation where you're accommodating others and prioritizing yourself. And her work, she's utilized other processes talking about motherhood. One piece in particular is called George's Blessing, which is an amazing sort of ghost-like replica of her son's baby blessing. And that piece, I think, in visual conversation with Bailey Rigby's gate, is phenomenal. Bailey Rigby is a photographer, and it's fantastic to see her working in such a large format. The work doesn't include any glass, so it invites you to get up close and personal with the piece. And as you look at it, there's this gate that's highlighted so bright, and visually it's so compelling. You want to get behind that gate. You want to open it up and kind of come in. And it's interesting in referencing the religious sort of iconography. It makes me think of almost the Garden of Eden and an entry point. Also, when you're thinking of George's Blessing as a rite of passage. But with Adam and Eve, it's like they did not experience joy or pain when they didn't know otherwise. And it was getting out of the Garden of Eden that informed the true experience of life. I love the intricacy of the gate and how you can see in other pieces throughout the show that sort of layered lace-like floral pattern. You see it in Amy Jorgensen's work. You see it in Kiki Gaffney's arch piece. It's a diptych of an arch. On one side, it's graphite. On the other, it's really intricate painting. There's such a femininity to it. Another piece that is really profound is Rebecca Campbell's Bricks and Balloons. This piece, her work is a personal narrative. She's painting from a Polaroid, which is of a daddy-daughter date. And if you're not familiar with that, in Mormon culture, there is this event that you're invited to go on this date with your dad, and it's all about sort of setting expectations as to how to be an appropriate sort of woman, teaching etiquette, how to talk on a date. And as you can see in this piece, Rebecca integrates her sister and her sister behind her has these bricks, which really kind of nods to this structure. Her sister's totally living the path and doing the thing. And Rebecca has this bright red lipstick and this powdered face with balloons in the background, which really visually kind of nods to the magical, this other world, this idea of kind of stepping outside of expectations. And her work is so incredible. We're honored to work with L.A. Louver in featuring her work in this show. We also have Dara Hartman, who has this piece titled Veil, which I love the title of the piece in conversation with all of the other works, and the intricacy of the pattern in her work. When you look at it, you can see the negative space, which, because of the installation in that dark background, you see the patterns, and there's other pieces throughout this show that integrate pattern, and it kind of is a reference to like hidden symbols or hidden meanings to me. Angela Ellsworth has some pieces that look like that. My work has form in a way like that. And Dara's work, she's inspired by her grandmother, who was a quilter. And each piece is so intricately made and composed to really make an impact together. It's interesting to think, I think, about this idea of the fragility of what the material is she's working with, which is ceramic, but the concept of the piece is a quilt, which is meant to bring comfort, and there's a beautiful juxtaposition within that. There's also works throughout the show that have other visual sort of conversations, where Dara has a piece that is actually, there are pin cushions, and the form of the pin cushion is repeated in Bailey Rigby's photograph of Claire, whose hair has the same form. But what I want to do is invite you to come to this show and look for these visual dialogues throughout the work, because these women are making work that really push the boundaries of social expectations. And it is such a powerful exhibition. We're thrilled to have extended it through July 31st and hope that you'll come visit us and see the show at Modern West.